Antarctica, the most remote and pristine region on Earth, has long been seen as nature's final stronghold against human influence. Its icy waters, vast ice sheets, and frigid winds have shielded it from much of the industrial world's harm, until now. Recent discoveries have revealed something alarming: the presence of plastic debris in Antarctic waters. But this plastic is not just waste. It has given rise to a unique and potentially hazardous phenomenon known as the plastisphere. The plastisphere is a term scientists use to describe a mini ecosystem that forms on floating plastic debris. Bacteria, algae, and small organisms colonize these surfaces, creating an artificial habitat that shouldn't exist. What's more, this new ecosystem may pose significant risks to Antarctic life and ecosystems. In this video, we are going to dive deep into what the plastisphere is, how it reached the remote Antarctic region, and why it could be one of the most concerning environmental threats we've seen. From its potential to spread invasive species to its ability to disrupt food chains, the plastisphere is a stark reminder that plastic pollution truly knows no boundaries. What is the plastisphere? To understand the plastisphere, let's break it down. The word plastisphere was first coined in 2013 by marine biologists to describe the unique ecosystem that develops on pieces of plastics floating in oceans. Think of it as a miniature world where life thrives on what is essentially garbage. In the natural world, organisms like bacteria, algae, and fungi often attach themselves to rocks, wood, or other organic matter. However, in today's oceans, plastic has taken on this role. As plastic waste drifts through the water, it quickly becomes colonized by microorganisms, creating a floating micro-ecosystem. These artificial habitats are surprisingly resilient, allowing organisms to survive in conditions where they normally wouldn't, like the frigid waters of Antarctica. Plastic in Antarctic waters becomes a platform hosting bacteria, microscopic algae, and even tiny animals. This phenomenon is part of a broader global issue, but it is particularly alarming when discovered in such a remote and fragile environment. How did plastic reach Antarctica? You might wonder how plastic has made its way to the isolated continent of Antarctica, a place with no major cities or industries. Unfortunately, plastic pollution is so widespread that even the most remote corners of the planet are not immune. 1. Ocean currents. Ocean currents, particularly the Antarctic Circumpolar Current, play a significant role in transporting plastic debris from other parts of the world. These powerful currents encircle Antarctica and act as a conveyor belt, drawing in the waste from the southern hemisphere's major oceans. 2. Human activity in Antarctica. While Antarctica remains largely uninhabited, human presence has increased in recent decades. Scientific research stations, fishing vessels, and even tourists contribute to plastic pollution. Research bases, despite efforts to minimize waste, still generate plastic materials. Lost fishing nets, ropes, and other equipment also add to the growing problem. 3. Microplastics. It's not just large debris we're talking about. Microplastics, tiny fragments of plastic less than 5 millimeters in size, have been detected in Antarctic waters and even ice cores. These microplastics can originate from personal care products, synthetic clothing, and even breakdown of larger plastic items. Once in the environment, they are nearly impossible to remove. The result is clear. Despite its isolation, Antarctica is no longer untouched. Plastic has made its way to this frozen wilderness, creating unforeseen consequences for its ecosystem. The unique characteristics of the Antarctic plastisphere. What makes the Antarctic plastisphere particularly unique is the extreme environment in which it exists. Life in Antarctic waters has always been highly specialized, with organisms evolving over millennia to survive the freezing temperatures and limited resources. But plastic has introduced a new variable, creating artificial habitats where they shouldn't be. 1. Adaptation to extreme conditions. Plastic surfaces provide shelter for microorganisms that might not otherwise survive in Antarctic waters. The smooth surface of plastic allows for colonization, even in sub-zero temperatures. This creates a microenvironment where life can flourish, insulated from the surrounding harsh conditions. 2. Invasive species carriers. One of the most concerning aspects of the plastisphere is its potential to carry invasive species into the Antarctic ecosystem. Microbes, algae, and other organisms can hitch a ride on plastic debris, traveling thousands of kilometers across oceans. When these foreign species reach Antarctic waters, they may outcompete native organisms, disrupting delicate food chains. 3. Pathogen hotspots. Studies have shown that plastics can harbor harmful bacteria and pathogens. The plastisphere in Antarctic waters could become a reservoir for these pathogens, posing a risk to marine life. If plastic debris comes into contact with animals like krill or fish, it could introduce diseases to the ecosystem. How the plastisphere threatens Antarctic ecosystems. The Antarctic ecosystem is one of the most fragile on Earth. Even small disruptions can have cascading effects, impacting species at every level of the food chain. The plastisphere poses several direct and indirect threats to this delicate balance. 1. Impact on krill in the food chain. Krill, tiny shrimp-like creatures, are the foundation of the Antarctic food web. They are a primary food source for whales, seals, penguins, and countless other species. Unfortunately, krill are highly vulnerable to plastic pollution. Studies have shown that krill can ingest microplastics, mistaking them for food. The presence of harmful bacteria and toxins on plastics only exacerbates the problem. If krill populations decline, the effects would ripple through the entire ecosystem. Whales, seals, and penguins would lose a critical food source, leading to population declines and destabilization of the Antarctic food chain. 2. Chemical pollution. Plastics are not inert. Over time, they leach harmful chemicals into the waters, such as BPA, phthalates, and other toxic compounds. These chemicals can be absorbed by marine organisms, bioaccumulating as they move up the food chain. Top predators like whales and seals may be at the highest risk of exposure to these toxins. 3. Altering natural habitats. Plastic debris can physically alter habitats, especially in coastal areas where it accumulates. It can smother seabeds, entangle marine animals, and disrupt natural processes. For an ecosystem as fragile as Antarctica's, these changes can have devastating consequences. The global implications of the Antarctic plastisphere. The discovery of the plastisphere in Antarctica is not just a local issue, it's a global warning sign. It highlights the far-reaching consequences of plastic pollution and the interconnectedness of Earth's ecosystems. 1. Plastic pollution knows no boundaries. The presence of plastic in one of the most remote places on Earth proves that no region is immune to pollution. Plastic waste from one part of the world can travel thousands of kilometers, impacting ecosystems we once thought were protected. 2. Climate change and pollution. The Antarctic ecosystem is already under threat from climate change. Melting ice sheets, rising temperatures, and ocean acidification are putting immense pressure on the region. The addition of plastic pollution only compounds these challenges, pushing ecosystems closer to collapse. 3. A call to action. The Antarctic plastisphere serves as a stark reminder of the urgent need to address plastic pollution. It's a global problem that requires global solutions, from reducing plastic production to cleaning up existing waste. International cooperation, stronger regulations, and innovative technologies are essential to protecting fragile ecosystems like Antarctica. The discovery of the Antarctic plastisphere is a sobering revelation. It is a man-made ecosystem thriving in one of the most extreme and untouched environments on the planet. While it may seem like a small phenomenon, its implications are vast. From carrying invasive species to disrupting food chains and introducing harmful pathogens, the plastisphere poses a significant threat to Antarctic life. More importantly, it is a symbol of humanity's impact on the natural world. Even the farthest corners of the Earth are not safe from plastic pollution. Antarctica, once considered a pristine wilderness, is now bearing the consequences of our actions. The question we must ask ourselves is, what can we do to stop this? The answer lies in reducing plastic waste, promoting sustainable alternatives, and protecting our planet's most fragile ecosystems before it's too late. Antarctica's story is a call to action for all of us. The Plastisphere should not exist, but it does. Now it's up to us to decide how far we will let it spread.